Sports Blitz Live is on the air with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown run.
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into Sports Blitz Live here on this Tuesday evening. Brett and Luke here with you for a couple of hours, and glad that you've joined us out there. You can call us 256-234-6221 to be part of the program. You can also comment away on Facebook Live. A lot of you do that, and we appreciate that. Had a lot of comments today. Luke, you called in on the Auburn Blitz today, and we'd love to hear from all of you out there tonight. We didn't have near enough time, Luke, to get through what we wanted to do this afternoon, and that's a good thing about having 2 hours on Tuesday night. We can knock that out, and a lot to discuss. I mean, of course, the national championship games are in the book now. Everybody's kind of turned focus to spring football. Auburn has A-Day coming up Saturday. Alabama will have it coming up in a few weeks as they really have just gotten into spring practice. Auburn started spring practice really early. And so we'll talk about both of those and the progress there, some ideas. Obviously, wouldn't be this world if there wasn't some kind of controversy going on, and whether it's positive, negative, or indifferent. The attention around women's basketball, we've been doing this show, Luke, almost 17 years. I don't remember us ever talking about women's basketball as much as we have in the last 3 days.
Well, hadn't had much of a reason to, frankly. This is what I brought up on Auburn Blitz, though. And, look, I know we're going to get into both championship games and everything associated. But I feel like the women's Final Four was better than the men's Final Four, and I don't think it was that close, frankly. I mean, I think there was more drama, there was more intrigue, there were more star power. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are two bigger names, really, than anybody who was in the men's Final Four. I mean, frankly, I think those two have really stood out. They've each got over 1 million Instagram followers. I know they had some controversy on their own, and I want to get to that. And this is what I've been talking about. Look, for the longest time, women's game had Tennessee and UConn, and that was it. And it was like, who's going to win it, Tennessee or UConn? Okay, somebody else snuck in the Final Four, but they got their doors blown off by Tennessee or UConn, right? Then Notre Dame creeps up. Mississippi State gets in there. Now South Carolina. Now you see LSU winning it. There's also, Iowa's got this homegrown girl.
Right.
Virginia Tech's getting in there. Duke's been pretty good. So all of a sudden, everybody in the women's game was like, we need more parity. We don't have enough parity. Well, now they've got about the right amount of parity. In the men's game, everybody was wanting more parity. We got too much. Everything's spread out too thin. There's no more stars. There's no villain. Who do you want to cheer against? Look, you either picked a side this week. You probably were either very pro-South Carolina or very anti-South Carolina because they were the clear favorite. They were
right.
Undefeated defending champs. Or you picked a side. You were either I'm Team Angel Reese or I'm Team Caitlin Clark. And so there's things to pick against. Nobody gives it a rip if San Diego State wins or loses. Now, no offense to anybody from San Diego. It's a beautiful city. I've been there. I love it. But it doesn't register on the national scale. So what I'm saying is, I've been saying this all along. Everybody thinks I'm just pro-blue blood. Look, if Gonzaga gets in there now, I'm for it. Gonzaga's been to Sweet 16 a gazillion consecutive times. But I'm to the point where now the transfer portal and the NIL and the everything else and all this parity we had to have in the men's game, it's stretched so thin now, we don't even know who's really a 4 seed, an 8 seed, a 13 seed.
LSU's coach came out and she said, the portal is the reason LSU won this year. She said they had 9 brand new players, and she had to go out and restructure this thing, and it worked out. And, we talked about it on Auburn Blitz today. UConn's done all of this really since basically 1999. I mean, they won that first title. I know that 90 they won a conference title, but really their program was irrelevant up until the mid-90s, and then they started gaining some traction, and then they've won 5 championships since then, and the only program to do that in that time frame.
The
And,
next closest is 3.
and you know, you look at where they stand now as far as titles all time. They're 4th all time, only behind Kentucky, North Carolina, and UCLA. And UCLA's, you know, they've won one since, but they've got so many of those were way back when John Wooden was coaching. So let's look at it from a standpoint of the positive thing for Auburn and Alabama, I will say about this, and you've seen the comeuppance of Auburn and Alabama basketball in the last 5 years, is that you could see this happening for those programs. You know, I know Alabama's had some spurts from time to time, and, you know, Wimp Sanderson had his good years. But for the most part, Auburn and Alabama basketball has been an afterthought. It really has. And, you know, now that fans are rabid about this and it's important and you're starting to see an arms race and providing facilities and being able to go out and get players from one year to the next, I can definitely see Auburn going back to a Final Four. I can definitely see Alabama getting over the hump finally and going to the Final Four and possibly winning the whole thing. Why can't they? I mean, UConn, they've done it. They've done it 5 times since 1999. You know, Auburn had their best team really in school history when I was in school down there in 99, and they went 29-4. But, of course, all the stuff with Cliff Ellis, and it kind of went downhill, so Auburn's had to climb its way back up, and they've had a few scattered years in there, Luke. But for the most part, I think this gives hope to the Auburn. And I'm with you on the spread too thin. I think maybe the best point you made today was let's look at not having so many D1 programs.
Look,
I think that may be the problem. That may be the biggest problem.
Why don't we have another division? Why isn't it okay? I wouldn't even care if we did something like soccer. I don't really understand it because I don't watch a lot of soccer. But if we did something like the Premier League and the whatever league,
Sure.
and just said, look, there are 130 football teams, right? That's
Right.
probably too many. We all know that. But there's another division right underneath that, and we sort of live with it. And football's not going to change. There's so many players that you can't just about get spread too thin. And that's all going to change anyway pretty quickly because I think we're going to have just an AFC and an NFC before too long and have about 60 teams.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we can all live with that too. But in basketball, you got 300 some odd basketball teams. That's way too many.
In 68 spots, which is really too many in itself. And so there has to be some type. And I think as this portal continues and NIL continues, I think it's going to take care of itself because those smaller schools, they're not going to be able to compete. They're not going to be able to purchase the best players. They're not going to be able to have – the only way they can build a team is through age. And that's what you saw with San Diego State. Look, Auburn did it. Alabama's done it in the last few years. I get that. And that's how we've had to build teams is that you get players that aren't really good enough to go to the NBA but good enough to be solid college players that will stay 3 or 4 years. But for the most part, you're going to have classes like Kentucky where you bring in 5 5-stars almost every year, and it's a total flip of a roster. And then you get some pieces that you need in the transfer portal. I mean, these states and for the most part, the Fairleigh Dickinsons and the FAUs and the Georgia, Florida Gulf Coast, and they're not going to be able to. They can have a shot, a flash in the pan one time, but that's it. And that's not a consistent. That's not a consistent way. And the better players in the country are not going to go to those schools.
And here's my other take on it: if we have 300 and some odd basketball teams, let's cut that in half and let the lower 150. Go do their own little tournament, and that way you can have another champion. You can have another smaller something champion.
Well, haven't we said that in Division I football for forever, that now we've felt obligated to let a Cincinnati get in or a TCU get in, and we've seen what's happened to them? Isn't that enough proof for the Boise's of the world for us to say, why don't we create another division and let them play for a championship too? I saw on the court for women's basketball next year, they're going to have the D1, 2, and 3 championships, I guess, all in the same week at the same location. You know, again, trying to look at being different, trying to bring things in. What's wrong with that? I think there's no problem with that.
You can probably do it in the same city if you don't do it at the exact same venue.
Right.
You know, next year the Final Four is in Phoenix. You got the Footprint Center. Then, of course, you got where it's probably going to be played at State Farm in Glendale. So, and again, we're doing it all in these big football places. I'd much rather do it in the Footprint Center, by the way, something more basketball-centric. But I know they're trying to make as much money as possible. My point is this, that I just, if you call me up on this show tonight and you say you were excited about this Final Four with Florida Atlantic, who was a 9 seed, San Diego State a 5 seed, UConn what were they, a 4?
They're 4.
They're 4,
They're
and
the high
Miami
seed.
a 5, and you say, yeah, this is the kind of Final Four I want. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no, I mean, there was, I know the San Diego State game ended on a buzzer beater. That's great. Now think about this. Just humor me for a second and picture this. Picture that it's Duke facing off against UCLA, and one of those two teams hits a buzzer beater. All of a sudden now you remember where you are when that game happened. Everybody remembers 92 Duke, Kentucky.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Everybody remembers that. I remember exactly where I was.
I do
It's the
too.
dangest thing I'd ever seen. And you're going to tell me you'd have that same memory if it were San Diego State, Florida Atlantic?
I would dare say within next year, people will forget who was in the Final Four.
I totally
I
agree.
know from one year to the next, sometimes I have a hard time, and we do sports for a living, who won the World Series
Now-
in baseball or who was in the NBA championship, much less, a Final Four. That's for diehard, sports fans. The common person isn't going to remember it all.
Well, and again, I said this on Auburn Blitz, I think Friday, that Cinderella's only Cinderella when she's Cinderella.
Right.
And when there's only one of them.
Right.
When you've got 3 or 4 in the Final Four, you're like, okay,
Well-
all of a sudden this isn't so cool.
Well, and I think it's going to be tough. I brought this up on Auburn Blitz today. I think it's going to be tougher for this committee to seed these teams moving forward. This is the first time that we didn't have a top 3 seed in the Final Four in any bracket. And then to be frank with you, saw several people on not on social media, online, whatever, talking about this is, with all this movement in basketball from one year to the next, it's hard to put a finger on a team that comes together. They may lose 4, 5, 6 games early in the year, but they may be hitting their stride like UConn. They had that little bitty gap in there where they lost a few games, but this team was a veteran team. They ended up making the run. It's going to be harder to figure out how to seed these teams.
That's true. And also, I talked about this with Jimmy Stein on Locked On Bama today, that it's going to be hard. It's getting harder and harder to put your arms around a team. Look, I loved watching this Alabama team. I loved it. It was great. But Brandon Miller's gone pro. Noah Clowney's gone pro. Bediako and JQ have both declared. I think both of them will be back. I really do believe that.
But you lost Bradley today.
Bradley in the transfer portal. And again, I can make sense of all of
That's
it.
5 players,
I
man.
kind of get it. Damari Burnett's already transferred to Michigan.
Well, that's 6.
I get it. Noah Gurley's left because he's a senior.
7.
And again, I get it because I get Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley's not a great three-point shooter. So if you're not a great three-point shooter, you probably don't need to be on this team. He's a good driver. He's a good penetrator, but he's probably not good enough to warrant being on this team. That doesn't mean he can't play really well
So
somewhere
who's
else.
left coming back for Alabama? We'll talk about this.
Oof. I mean, Rylan Griffin will be back. Nick Pringle will be back. I do believe, and I'm just going off the top of my head, so forgive me if I skip somebody. I do believe that Chuck Bediako will be back. They just got Jaquan Walton, who played at Carver in Montgomery, and then played at he was in the SEC, Georgia, and then he went to Wichita State.
Right.
And he's a good player, and I'm happy that, again, he sort of reminds me of a San Diego State kind of guy, like older guy, can do a bunch of different things well, but not fantastic. And I'm glad they got him. They've got some other guys coming in that they've signed in this class. But, what we were talking about was, as soon as we love this team, everybody's gone. And so now you got to start over. Auburn's going to face the same thing. Wendell Green's going to go pro. We all know he's not going pro.
He's not going pro. I mean, it's just he's leaving. And,
But KD Johnson is still rumored to be out there. And see, people are getting in the transfer portal like as I was leaving, somebody from Stanford got in it.
You're going to have complete turnover every year. And like you said, this has been going on for the top teams for a little bit longer. I mean, the one and done rule, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, they've all had to deal with this every year. Now we're all having to deal with it because of the portal. If you do get a couple of guys that are really good for your team, Auburn. Look at Auburn. Isaac Okoro, Chuma Okeke, Jabari Smith, Walker Kessler, Sharif Cooper. The list goes on and on. You're not going to have them but one time, and you better enjoy it. And then you hope that through the portal and through recruiting classes, but it really makes it tough on coaches to figure this thing out because a lot of times it's at the last minute. I think Auburn fully felt like Chance Westry was going to come back, and I think it was a shock to them. I think they were counting on him now that he's gotten healthy and was coming back, but this is added pressure on these coaches because Nate Oates, let's use him as an example. No, we got to get to our first break. But Nate Oates did a great job getting this team in here and putting these pieces together, and now 90% of them are gone. And he's got some new guys coming in. Yes, they're good recruits. You don't know how they're going to play out. So it's just all throwing the daggum dice on the table again
every
and seeing where it
single year.
lands.
Well, and seeing again, that makes it tough to have a team you dislike. That makes it tough. I use this example all the time. Would Star Wars have been any fun if Luke Skywalker's just fighting stormtroopers all the time? No, you needed Darth Vader.
Right.
He made the movie. If you don't have him, it's not as much fun. And stormtroopers and Luke Skywalker are all underdogs. That's not fun. You need a guy who you can, like, I can't stand that guy.
Right.
But the other thing is, Brett, see, you could get back in the portal and you can be re-recruited. And you can negotiate your NIL deals.
Right.
And you can get it. So
right.
It's one of those things where, look, I get it. We all wanted to pay the players.
I mean, Auburn and Alabama both are going to have completely different rosters next year. Auburn will have Janai Broome and maybe Jalen Williams. I don't know about Alan Flanagan. Don't know if Wes Flanagan and he go to Ole Miss like it's particularly been rumored because of Chris Beard. You know that Wendell's gone. You know Zepp's out. KD, really don't know. He's probably going to be a guy coming off the bench. This is going to be – you got one guy coming in Aiden Holloway, and then the rest is trying to go out and find these pieces in the portal that you think you're going to be able to build a roster.
And let me just ask you, how fair is this? And, again, I'm for the players getting paid. I really was, especially set up if they're going to get, name, image, likeness money. I was. But we all knew this was going to be abused. How fair is this? Everybody used to talk about how unfair it is for players not to be able to move around because coaches can move around wherever.
Right.
And they can, that makes sense to me. But now think about one of the rumors that's out there, that Chris Beard, who has worked with Wes Flanagan in the past, is going to get Alan Flanagan to transfer over, and Traore and Westry.
That's
so
right.
So 3 guys that Auburn has been grooming or recruiting very hard.
It's going to be right over there.
They know the Auburn system.
Right.
And now they get to move over to Ole Miss. Is that fair? I mean,
there's no rules anymore.
I feel like it's not. It feels unfair, and it feels against
you don't
the
let
spirit
everybody
of the sport.
Once you let that barrier down and you said anybody can go anywhere and you don't have to sit, this is what you have. There was a reason in college football if you wanted to transfer, you had to sit a year. I mean, I get it. I understand coaches from one year to the next, if they get a chance to improve their deal and go to another school that's bigger. We've seen it already 4 or 5 times since the tournament. The tournament was still going on and guys were going to other jobs. And so I see that side that if coaches can do it, why can't players do it? And so, but when you decide that you want to let them do that, now there's no barriers. Only thing you can say is, well, you could put a restriction in there. You can't transfer within your conference or somewhere like that.
Let's double up on the next break because I've been on a roll here because there's something else I thought about.
Okay.
All right. That you love Auburn, I love Alabama. We both went to school at these respective places, right? And they both hold a special place in our heart for the individual things.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Really, and I know some of them will watch the games and sort of, but I just stumbled upon a highlight of Mark Ingram watching the national championship game of 2015. And, like, he had so much genuine love and passion. I was like, in basketball, we ain't going to get that from anybody anymore.
That's done.
Because they're not even there 6 months.
The rivalry only – I've said this now for 2 weeks on this show. The rivalry only exists with the fans now. That it's in football, it's in basketball. It doesn't matter. These are guys that are coming in to fill a role in their life at this moment in time to move on to the next level. It is not the top players. That's what they're doing. Now, I know that there's some guys on the roster that still care about Alabama and still care about Auburn and grew up going to games and pulling for the team, and their parents are, their third generation, all this kind of stuff. Look, for the most part, that's dead. And again, it pains me to say that because that's what you and I grew up. And I know Alabama's program was taken to another level with Nick Saban, and I know y'all wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't either if I was on y'all's side. But in the whole mix of all this, you've lost what it meant to – I knew every player on Alabama's roster. Of course, I'm an Auburn fan, but you knew all of them because they were a majority from the state of Alabama or Georgia.
That's right.
And that's what made it so much fun and so much, the back and forth. And now, the starting 11 on offense may be one from some different state. And then you have somebody from California and somebody from New York and somebody from Texas and kids that come in and they go, okay, what's that fight song again? By game 3, they still don't know it. I mean, but look, that's life, and things change, and I get it, and things, go in different directions. But I think you said it best a few weeks ago. It's the way it is. Doesn't mean I've got to like it, and I don't think either one of us do. But it's what we're stuck with, and I think a majority of the fans out there feel that way.
And here's my problem with it, and I know in a way we sound like get off our lawn old men. And I'm not trying to be that way, and I'm not trying to say that, I'm sure our grandfathers thought the same thing about our generation in football or whatever, and a lot of things have changed for sure.
But they missed it, Luke.
It's changing so fast right now. What the way that the NCAA has handled this, where they just said, okay, everybody go do
They
their
got
own thing.
pissed.
Well, they got
pissed off.
You know what it's like, Brett? It's like if you had a kid in college and you were like, okay, you just handle all this apartment, and you're studying and all that, and paying the rent on your own, and I'm just getting out of here. You do what you want to do, and now you still give him enough money to do whatever, but he, and then you get mad if he gets arrested, or if he throws a party and gets kicked out of his apartment.
Well, the NCAA tried to fight it, and they got shot down by the court system, and so they pouted and they went to the House and they said, I tell you what, y'all just have it all. Do whatever you want to do. We ain't ruling, we ain't regulating, we're not doing anything anymore. And now you have the Wild West, and once it's out, the cows are out of the fence, the hay's out of the barn, toothpaste is out of the tube, can't put it back in there. It's gone, and there's no way to come back from it, and I don't know where it ends. We're still talking about NIL and collective. Nobody still has a grip on it. Still to this day.
And this is the shame of it, because here's the other thing. 2 national championships just happened. And it seems like all we're doing is complaining. And I mean, that's what it shouldn't be. But I mean, you're wondering, if you're not out there asking yourself, how in the world does San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, Miami, who's never been to a Final Four, how do they all get in the Final Four in the same year? That's when you start getting with this and you're going, this is kind of messed up. And I know that, again, maybe it's breaking tradition. Maybe some people do love it. Maybe I am on an island. I don't think I am, though, because I'm going to tell you something. I went to
they missed it, Luke, because they could have done this and they could have paid players. There is a such thing as rules and regulations within an organization, and those student athletes have a choice. They don't have to abide. If they don't like that, they can go do something else. But the NCAA and college football and basketball could have all gotten together and said, if we're going to keep this the way we all enjoy it, we can still pay these players. They're actually getting paid something already, but we can enhance what they get paid, and we can put this in a fund, and we can give it to them when they graduate or after they stay 3 years or whatever. But now it's just been turned totally loose. We already have pro leagues. Why did we want another pro league? You and I talked about that months ago. I mean, this is nothing but NFL 2.0 in the SEC now. Now you're bringing Oklahoma and Texas in, and now it's just more power for the SEC, and all the players that are really, really good are going to keep gravitating to this league, and that's great. But all of them are getting paid $7, $8, $9 million. The top ones, let's just be honest about it, they're getting paid more than some of the players in the NFL. It's backwards. What do you strive for?
I don't even know. I go back to the whole thing about college football. To me, is the regular season and how much every game seemed to mean something. Well, that's about to go out the window because we're going to have so many games and you're going to have so many teams in the playoffs. Everybody's going to be like, well, you can lose a couple.
Was
games.
that real that I saw the other day that they're kicking around a 64 team college football?
No,
playoff?
I don't believe that's real. Now, I know that's what Mike Leach always wanted. There's no feasible way for that to happen unless you have a 6-game regular season.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
no way
it was like discussed about watering down the regular season so you could have that.
No, I think that they had a committee put together about every plan you could possibly formulate. Right. And, of course, they'd have a stupid one like 64 teams being there. But, I mean, look, I was just listening to Joe Lunardi today, who I consider to be a basketball aficionado, and he was like, man, I really hope they expand the basketball tournament. I'm thinking, expand it? For the love of God. I mean, That's what it's really come to. And again, I heard you talk about this. We can talk about this. Jill Biden saying,
Oh my God.
Iowa played so tough. Why don't we invite them to the White House too? Because they didn't win. I don't care if you don't like Angel Reese and LSU. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. But one team won.
One team
That's
won.
who's
That's
always
the team
got.
that gets to go.
That's the one that gets to go.
It's not a participation trophy.
But that's the country we live in now. That's where we are.
It was so dumb, and thankfully she's getting a lot of pushback on it.
Yeah, but how do you walk that back now? Do you go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was kidding"?
Well, no. I think you just say, you know what? Sometimes tradition is a good thing. And again, college football, college basketball for the most part. Been
If
built
I'm
on a lot of
Iowa,
tradition.
I don't want to go.
No, what do you want to do?
I
Go
mean,
there and get beat again?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't want to go if I finish second. If you got anything about you, you go, okay, I appreciate it. But
They give you a
I think
jersey
we're
with number 2 on
Yeah, I
it?
think we're going to hang out at the house and maybe try again next year. Up against our second, what should be our second break of the show. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Harold Orthodontics of Ellick City has one simple mission: provide the region's most advanced diagnostic technology for you and your family's orthodontic and air passageway needs. At Harold Orthodontics, it's not just beautiful smiles, but revolutionary options for your family's orthodontic needs, as well as sleep apnea and jaw joint disorder relief. Dr. Harold and his caring staff provide the most accurate diagnosis to relieve the pain or frustration of sleep apnea and TMJ discomfort. Trust Harold Orthodontics. Call for a consultation at 256-234-6353.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Some comments coming in. Anthony said, do we know when the 6A finals for baseball and softball are? I have a feeling both of the titles will find their way to Elmore County when it's all said and done. Wetumpka softball, wow, 35-1, and Stanhope Elmore baseball is 18-5. Both are having phenomenal seasons. And I did not realize that Wetumpka was 35-1. Good God. I mean, that is, yeah, who was the one? Did they scrimmage themselves? and count it as a loss. But Anthony, I don't know that right in front of me. You know, that comes up in May, so we'll talk about it a little bit later on. I'll try to dig that up for you and get you some dates on that. But you're right. I don't think you're going out on a limb unless somebody has a major collapse. You know, Wetumpka looks like they may be definitely the favorite in 6A softball there. I don't know what some of the other teams have done this year, but getting close already, man. We're already in April. Where's this year going? I mean, we got the Masters this week, and, you know, spring football for Auburn will be over Saturday, and then Alabama in 2 weeks it'll be over. I mean, then you're looking at, you know, summertime dead in the face. It's already 80-something degrees out there today.
I was driving back from Mobile today. I went down to Mobile and back, and 90 degrees.
You know, like going across the street.
For me, it kind of is, yeah. But it was 90 degrees in Mobile today.
And it's going to get, I mean, I saw, of course, all the global warming people out there will say I told you, but like we're 5 or 6 weeks out of schedule this year. It's going to be hot. Well, hot summer. Well, it has rained every single day in spring so far. So you know what that means. We won't have a drop in the summer. No. It'll be excruciatingly hot, and the lake will drop, and everybody will be wondering.
That's why I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say again. I know I'm chock full of.
I knew where this was going to.
I'm chock full of unpopular opinions tonight. Summer's the worst season of them all. Everybody talks about can't wait for summer. It's hot. There's skeeters everywhere. You can't get anywhere. Every time you get in your car, you just catch on fire. You got to have an extinguisher right there. Everything sucks. The best season of the year is winter. I mean, not winter. Excuse me, fall.
Fall, and it's about 2 minutes long.
I know it's not that long.
You go from 900 degrees to 20 degrees.
Till you touch something and your fingers fall off.
Exactly.
Now, because you got football, you got a chill in the air. Your kids are back in school. If you got kids, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody loves their kids to come home from the summer, and then after about 4 days of the kids being home, you're like, where can I send these little rug monkeys? Because I'm tired of them. I've been there. I know. And I'm telling you, they get bored quick, and you ain't got enough iPads and apps. You got to have some.
Did you see? Speaking of that, did you see the on Twitter the picture of the guy blocking the bat that came out of a guy's hand in a major league game? The guy's literally. I mean, he's probably somebody like our age, and he's got his arm out, and the bat's hitting his arm, and he's got his arm directly in the face of a kid that's doing this on his phone. The kid had no idea the bat was coming, didn't know, was at a baseball game, not watching the game, but he's watching his phone, and it said, the caption said, "Thank God for those that used to play outside."
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, I don't know what would happen. It was going to hit him square in the face, and it wasn't going to be good, period. It could have killed him. But if you're going to sit on the third row of a baseball game beyond the net, where the net covers, how about put the phone down and watch the game?
You better.
I watched this happen, too, at an Auburn game. Auburn was playing Florida several years ago, and out on the terrace, Luke, there's 3 levels. And really it's just everybody brings their lawn chair, everybody's out there hanging out. And, you know how college girls are. They go to the ballpark, they're dressed up, they got their nice dresses on, and they want to look the part, and they're probably hanging out with some friends. Well, this one girl was totally turned back to the play, and somebody hit a scorching line drive, and you don't have time. Even looking at it, sometimes you don't have time. It hit her right dead in the back, and she went down. And I'm telling you, everybody was terrified because she wasn't moving, and they had to take her out on a stretcher and take her to the hospital. And it's like, how about turn around? You're at a baseball game. At any moment, the daggum ball can hit you. And it was like she was just there for the social part of it. She didn't even know there was a baseball game going on until she got hit in the back.
Well, it used to be that it was just all the parents going to their kids' dance recitals and recording them. And I'm like, why are you recording it? Nobody else wants to watch this but you. No, don't take this home to anybody. No, don't go to your friends and say, you want to watch little Lukey dance for 30 minutes. No, why would I do that? I didn't go for a reason. I can get a ticket to this crappy thing. I've been to a bunch of them.
Well, I mean, it just, again, that you're right. I mean, it's our nose are in these phones, and we're all guilty of it, and it's kind of our nature now.
But that's boy, it feels like we're going off on all this social commentary, but that's sort of the
Well,
thing,
had
too.
to-
Like, if you
that's-
don't like something, you just go to the next app, and it's like you get in the transfer portal of your phone. I mean, everything is just, what's next, what's next, what's next. Nobody stops to enjoy anything.
What's the average? Look, if just look around next time you're at a public event. Let's look and see what people are doing. Nobody has a conversation anymore. Nobody sits around and discuss. If there's 9 people at a table at a banquet, everybody's looking at they're in their
Probably
own.
texting each other.
They're all in their individual silos, but that's the society we've created. And look, okay, let's go back to the national championship celebration for LSU. You had whoever the lady was up there on the stage doing the presentations and all that, and they were talking to the coach. The entire time behind them, Angel Reese and all the other players were taking pictures and smiling, not paying a lick of attention to what's being said, what's going on the ceremony. They got 2-3 phones out taking stuff, and I know they're wanting to capture the moment and all that, but it was so distracting. It's like if you'd have stopped and just quit talking, they wouldn't have known why you stopped and quit talking. They would have been like, did something happen? What's going on? They were so encapsulated in taking selfies, Snapchatting the moment, all that kind of stuff, and it's really sad. That's where we are now.
But I understand we're also kind of contributing to it because we're talking about it so much. But you go back to the Iowa LSU game for a second, and you think about there was another thing there that really raised a lot of eyebrows. First of all, kudos to the women's game for getting the most viewers they've ever gotten. It got more in the Orange Bowl, more in the Sugar Bowl, more in NBA playoff games, more in all this stuff. And I think that was very cool because, again, it had teams you could wrap your arms around and say, this is a team I can either really hate or really get behind.
Right.
Caitlin Clark is also like the Michael Jordan of this year's college basketball. So you're sort of like, I want to watch her even if I don't like Iowa, right? Okay, so the first thing that instead of everybody going, LSU, man, awesome. Instead of talking about how awesome it is that this program got their national championship, you're either talking about their coach looking like she went to Liberace's yard sale to get all her clothes.
Did you see I saw where the Super 70 Sports guy said, how dare you bet against a woman, Siegfried and Roy's sister? I mean, and it looked just like
it did.
something
And again,
they would wear.
more power to her. Wear what you wanted to wear, but it's true. Okay? Or you're talking about how poor the officiating was. And see, that's another problem. We all have so many camera angles now, we can pick out everything the officials do wrong, and it's a bunch. They're not helping themselves because they are terrible. They were bad, especially given that tech.
I'm telling you, and when we go to break, let's come back and talk about that. Again, we don't want to pound officials, but there is a chronic problem.
It's a crisis.
I'm telling you, they almost ruined that game. And in the first quarter, Iowa had 3 players with 2 fouls. LSU had 3 players with 2 fouls. It was like every time somebody did that, they were blowing their whistle. I'm like, they're not going to be able to finish the game because there ain't going to be anybody left.
Well, and again, I know you want to clean it up, I think, but you have to
clean it up. Don't breathe on anybody. You get called for foul.
Well, I think that the other thing somebody said was it's lucky that they didn't get thrown out or whatever because it was very close to the game being without its 2 best players. And if you take away Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, all of a sudden that game ain't very watchable.
Nobody cares. I mean, really, that's exactly right. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Get ready for all the great food and great fun of the 2023 Gumbo Get Down in downtown Alex City with live music, a kids zone, lots of great gumbo to try, and a whole lot more. It all happens Saturday, April 15th from noon to 3 p.m. downtown Alex City. Don't miss the fun, the music, and the food. Bring the whole family Saturday, April 15th from noon to 3 to downtown Alex City for the 2023 Gumbo Get Down.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Looking for an attorney you can trust for your real estate closings? Wisdom Law Firm at Lake Martin has you covered. Your real estate transactions are fast, convenient, and professional every step of the way. Wisdom Law is certified and licensed by the American Land and Title Association and approved by all local lenders. Visit Wisdom Law Firm at 6366 Highway 49 in Dadeville or at their Auburn location at 2353 Bent Creek Road. No communication concerning a lawyer's legal services shall be published or broadcast unless it contains the following language, which shall be clearly legible or audible as the case may be. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Kalijah Idol 15, the semifinals, is happening in the River Region this Saturday night at Alabama's Little Bit of Texas. It's Kalijah Idol 15, the semifinals.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Luke, we talked about some officiating before we went to break. But, I mean, again, we're pro trying to get as many good people to get into the profession as possible because we know dealing with AHSAA what they are dealing with as far as a shortage. It's not just in this state. It's everywhere. We need good people to officiate our sporting events because without officials, we don't have a game, we don't have a contest. But Luke, some of these games all the way up and down from Little League all the way to pros have just from football to basketball to baseball, just I don't know, is there – and I know the games have all changed. I talked to an official in basketball in high school just for example. There's so much – up and down pace. The game has changed so much. You look at it from a standpoint of, you know, there is no walking the ball up the court anymore. It's a full court press, trying to trap constantly. You're trying to see if somebody reached in, somebody fouled. It has really sped this game up, and it makes it really tough on them to officiate. And then when you miss a call or when you call something that everybody else didn't think's a foul, the fans are so irate now, they just rail on the officials, and it becomes a mixed bag of crap, man. I ain't got to deal with this. And so you start to lose some of the guys, but they did say the games have changed, football's changed. Man, this RPO thing, you know, there's so many things to be watching to see if somebody's done something illegal, and you're going to miss something every once in a while.
Yeah, you are, and again, everybody's patience is so thin. I mean, all you got to think about is how many times we see road rage out there. Everybody's stretched as far as they can be stretched, and they're all stressed out. And so when you try and have your escape with sports, and then you see something like this, you see a bad call that may cost your team, you lose it. And it's unfortunate. And look, there have been bad calls as long as we've had officials.
No doubt.
But now they're so amplified by the fact magnified. Because we have the ability to see all the calls, and they do it from 100 different angles. And the game has grown so much quicker than the officials can adapt. And Again, that's not necessarily their fault. I mean, in fact, I don't think it's their fault. It's just, I don't know what the answer is. What do you want to do? Put another official on the floor? Just give another guy a chance to?
I didn't see anybody that agreed with Caitlin Clark's technical.
No, that was stupid.
Nobody.
And,
I mean, she did it in a little bit of frustration, but man, that does not warrant it. She'd done nothing to that point.
Just go up to her and say, "Don't do that again." And I think that's fine. If she had gotten a warning and then she did it again, I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
But we're trying to grow this game. We want to see the best players play. That doesn't mean they should get carte blanche to do whatever the heck they want to do. But
well, let's talk about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese for a second, okay? And look, I've seen the Caitlin Clark, now you see me, now you don't, in the Louisville game. It was a very brief moment, and now in men's basketball and in women's too, or heck, Ronald Acuna did this for the Braves the other night when he hit a home run. He's coming around third and he's doing this "you too small" thing. Now that's there's always fads in sports. Whatever the little the gritty when you dance and everything is something new comes along all the time. Well, now it's "you too small." And Janai Broome. I got so frustrated as an Auburn fan that he had missed like 4 or 5 shots in a row in one game, and he finally got a turnaround dunk on somebody, and then he does this. I said, how about let's do better than 1 for 6 from the field before we start telling everybody they're small. Yeah. But I'm not condoning. I know competitors do things, and you're in the heat of the moment, but this really apples to oranges. What Caitlin, Clark did versus what Angel Reese walked around that court for 20 seconds trying to make sure she saw her pointing to her ring. And Caitlin Clark would turn away and she'd run over here and try to do this again. She just kept on. Look, if you wanted to do it to her one time and walk off, but man, it got absurd there for about 25 seconds.
It really was. It was pretty terrible sportsmanship for sure. And if you want to say Caitlin Clark,
well, Caitlin Clark did it too, and I'm not condoning either one of them.
Because that's what a lot of people did. Okay, but let's also say this. Everybody's like, where was the uproar when she did it? Well, they were playing Louisville in the Elite Eight. I wasn't even watching the game.
That's right.
The national championship where they had 2 big names. Yeah, we're going to watch it.
I'm telling you, if Angel Reese had done it one time, or said, or just looked at her as time was running out and did that and walked off, it wouldn't have been. There's a 20-second clip of her continuing to just keep doing stuff and mouthing
Think
off.
About this, Brett. Look at it another way. If Cam Newton, every time he scored a touchdown, if he had found the nearest defender and done the Superman thing in his face, we'd all think differently.
That's
instead
exactly
of doing it to the crowd. There is a difference. There is some sportsmanship. I was really kind of disappointed with a lot of the national media narrative that, this is obviously a race thing. I don't think it was.
It is not race at all.
I think it's a sportsmanship thing. And look, again, if you want to say Caitlin Clark shouldn't have done this, okay, I'm with you. Now, I didn't feel like in the clip that I saw, and I didn't watch the game. I want to reiterate, I didn't watch the game because I'm not watching an Elite Eight game between Iowa and Louisville on the women's basketball side. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to be honest. So, if maybe she chased that girl around. I don't think she did because I saw the clip.
Like I said, I think that's the only clip out there.
But then Angel Reese doubles down on the post game saying, hey,
well, then they got mad, and then there was something about the way Caitlin Clark was guarding South Carolina's not guarding her out behind the well, what is she supposed to do?
Well, she gave one of the
I know she kind of did that brush off.
I think that feels more like psychological warfare in the game moment.
Right.
Like you're sort of like, you ain't shooting that.
Well, I'm not honoring that. I'm not honoring that. I'm not going to come face you up.
And again, I do agree with what you said. If Angel Reese wants to show her up one time and go, I think we all get it.
Do that and move on. That's good.
And now Caitlin Clark has come out and said,
it was kind of like one of those things, hey, Angel Reese was like, hey, did you see me?
Yeah.
Hey, did you see me do that? Hey, can you turn around and let me show you again?
And Angel Reese doubled down on the post game, saying, "Hey, that's what I do. I'm not going to change for anybody." But see, that's the problem with everybody. When somebody says, "Hey, that's probably not super cool," you shouldn't say, "I don't change for anybody." Say, "Okay, maybe I do need to change something." Yeah. And again, there's nothing wrong with change. You change equals growth. So let's try and change to have some growth. And it doesn't mean Angel Reese is a bad person. She was caught up in the moment too. So, I mean, it's not like an unforgivable offense. It is fine. But, I mean, to keep doubling down on things that you do that are unsportsmanlike and then say, that's just what's going to happen. Why do we have to accept that? Why didn't that, here's another question. Why didn't that get a technical?
What I was going to say just a minute ago. If the Caitlin Clark throw the ball into the boundary deserved a technical, even though the game was over and in hand, why didn't the officials say that's because that's technically a technical foul? Isn't taunting a technical foul?
I thought it wasn't. Again, that's poor officiating because you can get a handle on this.
But is it okay to do it because there's only 30 seconds left in the game and the clock's running out?
Well, and again,
isn't that like what we say in certain moments, swallow the whistle? I disagreed with what Charles Barkley said in that whichever game that was, where it may have been the Florida Atlantic game where they pushed him on the hip. And he said, I think that was a terrible call because I think at that time of the game you let that go. Well, no, if it's a foul, it's a foul. In the first second of the game or the last second of the game.
I'm with you on that. Now,
I mean, don't say this moment's more important because it's coming down the end. No, nobody wants to see a game end at the free throw line and anticlimactic after you sat there on the edge of your seat. Look, as an Auburn fan, nobody wants to see that worse than us because we saw a Final Four semifinal game get taken from us basically because of a cheapy foul. I mean, if you want to say it was a foul, it's a foul, but did you really think that was necessary to call that in that moment? Well, if you say that is a foul, then it is a foul. Then you call it. So, I mean, it is what it is.
And again, Caitlin Clark has come out apparently on ESPN today and said, look, I don't have any problem with what she did. And so maybe if Caitlin Clark has no problem with it, maybe we just shouldn't. But I think it's okay as sports fans say, hey guys, look, we get it. We get the grit. The gritty's kind of fun. I get it.
Right.
And I think the NFL does have it right in theory. Like you can celebrate. You can celebrate. Just don't get in somebody's face.
I think you ought to be able to celebrate in college. Those kids work your rear end off, all week and they finally accomplished the ultimate goal, that score a touchdown or make a big shot. They should be allowed within certain parameters a chance to go in the end zone and celebrate. Instead of don't do it, don't do that, don't celebrate, I'm going to throw a 15-yard flag on you. I mean, I think we're too strict to that matter, but when you turn it around and you taunt and you directly throw it in somebody's face, Luke, like you said, that's a different ballgame.
And again, I think a lot of people were hurt by it saying, well, that's just who Angel Reese is. Well, first of all, nobody's saying she's a bad person because of this. We're saying let's use this as an example of how not to act on the biggest stage of the game. Or on any stage, frankly, but especially on the biggest stage. Because you know what? It was LSU's a fantastic team. The coach is awesome. They've got a fantastic program.
So instead of talking about LSU winning the national championship, what has everybody been talking about the last 3 days?
Again, that's what I'm saying is you're talking about all the crappiness that was associated.
That's right. So you've taken the shine off the moment. And, I know LSU fans are probably like, I don't give a crap what it is. We won the national championship, and that's great. But nationally, this controversy has been stirred up because of this. And so it just takes the 2-star players acting the part. Just be good sports. Just do it.
There's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with celebration. There's nothing wrong with doing this as sort of a quick glance. Again, Caitlin Clark started it, so I get that. I get the retaliation, but you don't have to go so far over the top that you're like, hey, everybody, calm down. And then the referees don't do anything to stop it, so it makes it seem like it's acceptable.
Fine. That's exactly right. I mean, that's why they're on the floor, is to keep order, no doubt. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey, honey, it's Mom. Just wanted to call and check in, see how everything's going. You'll probably say not to worry. Everything is great. But we miss you. I'll call you back later.
Everything's great. I love it here.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Hey guys, this is Nate Paz with Airport Motors.
I'm Connor Branch with Fairway Auto Brokers in Opelika, Alabama.
And this is your first ever Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz.
That's right, Lake Martin. Airport Motors and Fairway Auto Brokers is teaming up for the very first Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz. Make sure to check out either website for the very best selection of pre-owned luxury trucks, SUVs, and sedans in East Alabama. Get pre-approved in minutes online and make sure to use the keyword Summer Blitz in the comments section for $500 off internet price. That's keyword Summer Blitz.
WF Cabinetry in Alex City has immediate openings for first and second shift production roles in addition to immediate openings for Class A CDL drivers with the ability to be at home weekly. We are ready for you to join our family and grow with us. Prior cabinet experience is always welcome. Second shift offers a flexible 10-hour, 4-day work schedule, giving you a great work-life balance right here at home. WF Cabinetry offers excellent health insurance and 401k benefits, as well as an employee purchase discount with daily production bonus opportunities. You can apply in person at 2212 Airport Boulevard in Alexander City or call 256-234-7900.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Anthony, to answer your question about the state baseball tournaments, May 15th through the 20th in Montgomery. So the state baseball championships, May 15th through 20th in Montgomery, and the girls softball championships, May 16th through 21st in Oxford.
I think this call is for us. It's on hold,
well,
so let's
okay,
give it a shot.
let's see.
Maybe they want to sell us some insurance. Caller, you're on there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yeah, feel free.
This Fuller.
Okay.
I heard that Auburn's having an A-Day game Saturday.
That's right.
You know what time it is?
It's 1 o'clock.
You know it's going to be on TV?
It's going to be on ESPN Plus.
Oh, well, I won't get able to get it then.
Well, sorry about that, brother.
All right, that's all I need to know.
All right. Yeah, man. Yep. You can watch the tape delay. It'll be on the SEC Network. Hey, you always can go down there.
Well, it's funny. I mean, yeah, you could go down there and look. I mean, they may not have enough to scrimmage. And
well, it looks like it's going to pour rain.
That's another. Well,
it looks like it's going to be. I mean, okay, we talked about this a month ago. I should have known. You could have started. I had Jason Caldwell on the show, and I said, man, it's shaping up. That could be a fun weekend in Auburn. You got Texas A&M coming in for a 3-game series. You got the A-Day game. And I said, if it's a pretty weekend, you could have a record crowd. No, it looks like it's going to pour all day. Yeah. So I don't know who wants to go sit out in the pouring rain and watch a scrimmage.
And really, you don't know what the setup's going to be because, again, they may not have enough players, you said. And then, of course, Hugh Freeze brings up play Troy, play Alabama State, play UAB. Look, I honestly would have no problem doing that in the spring if somebody wanted to do it.
Yeah, no problem.
But at the same time, I get why coaches don't want to do it because then you actually do have to, at least moderately game plan. And for whatever reason, this may not be true at all, but I would feel like you have a better shot at getting injured when you're playing a different team. Maybe
he was comparing it to the NFL.
Yeah.
Preseason,
like preseason,
when they get the matchups together.
And it would be
in the camps and stuff.
In theory, I think it is great. In practice, I don't think it would work because, again, see, somebody like Troy is going to take it a lot more seriously than Alabama or Auburn, right? So if Troy comes in, and let's say Alabama and Auburn are going out there, and, you know, Saban or Freeze out there moving quarterbacks around, doing their thing, and let's say Troy wins 28-20.
Yeah.
You know, but it meant nothing because everybody was moving around. You had the fourth string punter. You had some guys sitting out. But what's the headline going to be? Alabama and Auburn, they stink. You know, and again, you don't want that as a coach. I don't care that it means nothing. Your brand means something.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know how they do it in the NFL. I don't know that they keep score. I think they just do situational stuff. They line up. And so I don't know. I don't know how you would do it. I mean, obviously, spring games have morphed into glorified scrimmages, and it's just an opportunity for fans to come and watch. Who knows what it ends up being moving forward. Look, I don't think anybody 10 years ago saw the landscape of college athletics the way it is now. I mean, who in the heck knows what it's going to look like in 10
I
more?
did hear an interesting proposition on national radio today coming back from Mobile. That what if we just said, okay, college football now is its own thing? And you say, well, isn't it already? Not really, because whenever TV packages get done, they get done in conjunction with basketball.
They do.
And you get all this piece of the pie. What if college football said, we're going to do our own thing, and we're just going – because they're already on a part. They don't factor into the Title IX stuff.
No.
You know? So say they're over here. Now, all of a sudden, you can go back to basketball, and you don't have to – maybe you can have TV packages that aren't obscene. Maybe you can figure out a TV package. I'm not saying college football, this college football fault, but maybe you can have a TV package where the national championship done start at 8:20 on a Monday night, for the love of God.
Right.
You can.
Yeah, I don't think I saw more people once again saying who came up with the dumb idea to have a national championship at 8:15, 8:20 on a Monday night. Why are we having the supposedly the biggest culmination of the entire season on a daggum Monday night?
The national championship for the girls game was at what, 2:30, 3 o'clock on a Sunday,
yeah.
and had the biggest rating it's ever had. So what if you put the men's game there? Now it probably wouldn't be much better because you had two teams that don't draw as much. You have a small state team, and then you have a San Diego State team that nobody knows anything about. So it might not draw. But if you had, let's say, the equivalent of LSU, Iowa, let's say you had, you know, a North Carolina, Michigan State on that same day, I bet all of a sudden people, that blows up. Now, again, but the whole thing was, hey, let's get the college back in college athletics. It's already too far gone. Football's too far gone. We can like the tailgating and whatever, but in the end, it's all a big money grab too.
Oh, no doubt.
And so let football do its own thing and let all these other sports go back to being themselves.
Yeah, I think that's where it's headed, if it's not already there. Up against the top of the hour break. Stay tuned. 1 hour left here on Sports Blitz.
Now at Glenn Smith in Opelika, GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to $11,000 off. GMC Terrains up to $6,250 off. And Buick Encore GX up to $4,750 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com. Plus, no payments for 120 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC.
We have over 200 new and used vehicles on the ground or on the way. Get ready to smile.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
Hi, this is Jimmy Gorey, Gorey's Furniture. Come join us for the madness of March. Come join us here at Gorey's Furniture. Make a purchase, shoot from the line, 5, 10 to 15. That's % discount off your total ticket. So come join us. Let's have some fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone will save. Come join us for the madness of March, and that's only at Gorey's Furniture.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Talladega Outdoors in Talladega is your authorized Kawasaki sale and service center. Your home for Bad Boy mowers and Kimco scooters, four-wheelers, and side-by-sides. Rather for hunting, land management, or recreation, they have the ride for you. But they are also everything outdoor with full lines of accessories and is now your Ariat workwear and boot store, along with kayaks and outdoor accessories. Talladega Outdoor, Highway 21 in Talladega. Everything outdoor and Alabama's #1 Kawasaki dealer.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. And sunshine, heat, and air, 1 hour left here in tonight's show. Again, we appreciate your comments. Send them our way if you got something that you'd like to add, have a question mark about anything. We'd love to hear it. Women's college basketball, $9.9 million in the final. That's more than the Sugar Bowl and Orange Bowl. Did you ever think, would you hear that? But see, the bowl season has kind of, too. These games don't mean as much anymore, right?
That's right. I mean, look, and again, I'm happy about it.
When you take the meaning out of something,
yeah,
the name doesn't mean anything.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because, and I'm not trying to catch you in something, but I'm saying for those saying let's expand all these playoffs, you're telling me the regular season is going to mean as much in college football?
It's not. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think what we've been saying is that we know where this was going years ago. We knew the track it was on. We knew that 4 wouldn't be enough when we went away from the BCS. We knew that okay, we're going to give you 2 more. We're going to make a 14 playoff. Well, how long did that last before people started saying this ain't enough? And look, Randy brought up some great points. I think this should be addressed. I think we need to talk about this. The parity in college football is gone, and I think that it would be a miracle for Alabama and Georgia not to make the playoff one year. I mean, that's the way this thing's set up right now. And
for now.
For now. But for the most part, if you look at the parity, I can tell you right now, they don't even have to have a media day. I can tell you how the press is going to vote right now. They're going to pick Alabama to win the West. They're going to pick Georgia to win the East. And they're going to pick Georgia to win the SEC championship in Atlanta. Because Georgia happens to be the defending national champs, and
2 times.
They're giving them the same courtesy that Alabama's been given for the last 15 years. And until Alabama knocks them back off, and then the next year Alabama will be favored in the championship.
And I hear that. Now, here's my retort. See, everybody's like, well, see, Purdue doesn't have a chance. Purdue doesn't take it as seriously as we do. I mean, you're going to tell me I've been to West Lafayette. I'm telling you, they don't take football as seriously
I
as we do.
understand that. I'm just saying that the 14, it would take, like, to knock somebody off in football, you can see where you can knock off a 31-4 Bama team.
Sure.
It's much more talented. They go out on the floor. They have a bad shooting night. Somebody else is shooting the lights out.
Well, and you only got 5 guys.
There's only 5 people. In football, that ain't happening, man. With the depth and the amount of superiority that gets kind of rolling down the tracks, we all can name the teams that we feel like are going to go to the playoff right now. Alabama, Georgia, some way are going to get in there, even though they're in the same conference. And then a hodgepodge of either Ohio State or Clemson or Oklahoma or USC, maybe Michigan, but somebody in the Big Ten, either Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama and or Georgia, Clemson probably, and then maybe now that Lincoln Riley's back at USC, them. Outside of that, who you picking, man?
Notre Dame, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. But, I mean, for the most part, we've given I think the shot for the Cincinnatis and the TCUs of the world is over. That was embarrassing. I think TCU said, I don't want to go back. I'm done with that. Appreciate you letting me try it. But, you know, we gave up 64 points and we could have gave up 100. And it was and everybody said, okay, let's not argue about this anymore. Let's go ahead and eat our foot and say we were wrong. The little boy don't deserve a chance because they don't play the same schedule. They don't do the same things. So, again, that eliminates even more teams. So, in reality, you only have a handful of teams that you know is going to make the playoffs every year in college football.
Well, okay, and again,
that's where it is.
I see it to an extent. Now, I will also say this: I don't think the reign of Alabama and Georgia will last forever.
Nothing ever does.
Yeah, we're seeing Clemson's already fallen off a little bit. LSU has had one of the best seasons we've ever seen here recently. Oregon has made the playoffs. It was a while back, but they've made the playoffs. And now, here's the other thing: you can't really say, well, anything about Oregon not making. Nobody from the Pac-12 has, because they play bad football over there right now.
Right.
Now, that may change when two of them go to the Big Ten and some things may swap. But what I'm saying is adding more playoff teams doesn't necessarily make parity go up. I think it's just more sacrificial land.
No, I'm with you. I don't think that's the answer. What I'm saying is parity in college football has been lost because of this, and I think that kind of goes back to my point. I said we weren't happy when we only had two teams. And look, I'm an Auburn fan, and I think 2004. I mean, I would have loved to have seen what happened. It didn't work out. It is what it is. All right. So then we say, okay, the BCS thing's only limited it to two teams every year. Let's add two more. Well, that ain't helped either. And adding 8 or adding 12 is not going to help either.
I agree. Now, here's the other problem. Randy, everybody says, well, we don't have enough parity. Okay. How do you regulate parity? What are you going to do? First thing you're going to do probably is what they try to do is cut down the number of scholarships everybody can have. Well, the problem with that is now you're getting to a point of cutting enough scholarships where if somebody gets hurt, your season's done. You know, they've got it about where it can be. I think this is about the threshold it needs to be. Also, you're depriving other people of having an opportunity to go to college for free, by the way.
Which that's about to happen, too.
Yeah. All right. So, secondly, what's the next thing you're going to try to do for parity? Well, you're going to say, I want everybody to play sort of an equal schedule. Well, that can't be done. And see, here's the other thing. You can't regulate the passion for the sport. The state of Alabama cares a lot more about football than the state of Oregon. I know there's some feverish football fans in Oregon. I know there's some fans up there. But as a whole, it's not close.
No, it's not.
And same thing with California. And everybody goes, well, there's more stuff to do. That's wonderful. Go to Santa Monica Pier while we beat your brains in when we play UCLA or USC. Because what happens is the quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, they're all from California, all in the same year. None of them went to a California school because they went to places where football is more important, and they thought they could get better training. Maybe now one of them would have gone to USC and gotten quarterback trained under Lincoln Riley. That would make some sense. But who at the time wanted to go to either USC or UCLA and be honestly, you'd be back there and just be target practice for somebody's defense every time you went to a bowl game because you ain't making the playoffs. So you can't regulate.
I don't know what the answer is for college football right now. I just don't.
Well, see, for basketball, it is easier to get parity. All you got to do is get one. If you get one or two dudes in there, all of a sudden you can be a player.
When you have a sport where there's not as many players involved, like basketball, and your roster doesn't have to be that deep, you can put 5 guys on the floor. Now, you might not have as much depth as another team, but if you got 5 studs out there, you're going to win a lot of games, and you're going to give yourself a chance. There's way too much depth, and these rosters in football are too big. Nobody's sneaking up on Alabama. Nobody's sneaking up on Georgia right now. And again, I'm not saying this from a standpoint of that's not one of my teams. I give credit to Georgia and Alabama. They've built it up. They've earned it. Why should they feel sorry for everybody else? I'm not asking them to. And I'm not saying they should be penalized because they worked to get to where they are. It's just that we want to see more, I guess, equality from a standpoint of more teams be competitive. And right now, the haves are the havers, and they keep getting halved, and it's harder to catch up at this point. I don't know what the
I
answer
agree with that, and I don't think there's an answer because you're right. Alabama and Georgia, and to an extent, Clemson and Ohio State,
sprinted away from the field.
They have said, we're going to make a commitment to this. We're going to pour all our money and our resources into this, and we're not going to take.
I mean, was it true what I heard about, and you'll know this, and you can squash it if it's false. Did Nick Saban say no to that new basketball facility at Alabama?
I don't think that's true.
Or I'd heard that he basically said, I mean, because Alabama hadn't been to the national championship game, and it's like, look, man, we're about to pour some more we're about to do some things for football where we've kind of fallen off. We're not falling off on football for sacrificing for basketball.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I could see a situation where both he and Oates would be like, look, yeah, we want new facilities.
But the basketball facility's off the table right now, isn't it?
I don't know if it's off the table. I think it is postponed for the moment.
Right.
But and I think some of that is also, hey, we got the same people that are paying for the basketball facility are putting money into NIL. You can't keep going back to the well all the time.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think everybody.
Well, I think that's part of what I think it's what he's saying. I think that's what's happened at Auburn. I think Hugh Freeze kind of said, look, I'm glad we got this facility, and I'm glad it was built before I got here, because if it hadn't been, I probably wouldn't be doing it. You know, because we need to start focusing on how to do the collective and all that.
And you definitely could have some people start doing this, especially in a situation like Auburn where Bruce Pearl's like, I need all my NL money to go get these two dudes. And Hugh Freeze like, yeah, but I need 10 offensive linemen, and I need all that money.
That's
and
exactly
so then
right.
you say, which one's more important?
Well,
the football's going to win every time.
This is where it's coming to,
now, okay, but going back to this, that you're going back to the parity thing. See, to me, it's like a guy who studies for 4 years in college, graduates early, gets his master's, makes all this money, and everybody's like, well, yeah, I wanted to do that. And they go, yeah, but see, you spent a lot of your time partying, or you didn't study as hard as me, and now you want the same amenities as me.
I know.
And I think Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State and those teams, LSU to an extent, have poured their resources.
I think Auburn's been a victim of its own mistakes. I think Auburn's tried to do it, but they can't get it right because of power struggle. I mean,
no, there's no doubt.
You got to have somebody. What's the common theme in the three or four teams that you've named? I mean, Dabo Swinney unequivocally is in charge of that program. Nick Saban, unequivocally, nobody's even questioned. Don't go to anybody else without asking him first, right? Kirby Smart finally flipped the script at Georgia. Nobody goes and does anything without consulting him. And then you look at Ryan Day, but it's Ohio State as a program as a whole. You know, you just kind of one coach to the next.
Well,
it's
they're
still
also
the priority.
a lone entity in a monstrous state.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you've got one controlling guy that makes all the decisions, and Auburn has had a power struggle. And they have flipped coaches here recently 2 or 3 times. And in the mix of that, you can have the same kind of funds, you can have the same kind of things, but when everybody's not pulling in the same direction, you're never going to get to the top of the mountain.
And Auburn already faces an uphill battle because you got Alabama over here, and Georgia over here, and Florida down here, and so they're already like facing an uphill battle. And then when you throw in the power struggles, it makes it even worse. You're absolutely right. But my point is that if you are, let's say you're a recruit and you're deciding to go between Georgia or TCU. Forget the fact that they just played and Georgia beat them like they stole a bunch of money from them. If you look at TCU's facilities, and TCU's right there in Fort Worth, Dallas area, is a great place. And then you go to Georgia and you go there on a Saturday. You go to the 2 places on a Saturday. TCU's pretty active on a Saturday. That's cool.
Right.
It ain't Athens.
No, it's not.
Athens is a different animal.
Well,
and so if you go, both these schools want me. Which one am I going to?
I think that's why Auburn, you hear recruits say about Auburn, and it's, you know, unless you go to Auburn and you see it for yourself, these recruits say, man, I didn't know, man, that's why it was so important for Auburn to get visitors on campus and why COVID was so hard on Auburn, because and everybody you hear talk about it that covers Auburn, like Jason and Brian Matthews, all these guys say it's more detrimental. This COVID thing's been more detrimental to schools like Auburn because they can't showcase why they're so good and the amenities. And so I think that kind of goes hand in hand. But you're right. I mean, it's apples to oranges.
You know, and one thing, I know we got to go to break again, but one thing, it's kind of funny to me. Philip Marshall loves to, on one of the Auburn websites, loves to talk about how, you know, it's unfair that ESPN gives all this exposure to your Alabamas and your Georgias and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, they give exposure. ESPN's in it to make money. They want viewership. So they're not going to do a lot of stories on Texas Tech.
Well, Auburn gets its fair share on ESPN, too.
I know.
I'm just saying, I hear where you're coming from. I think he's wrong there because I think at one point in time, and I know this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, Auburn was the most televised SEC team.
On ESPN.
On ESPN. Yeah. So you can start splitting hairs.
But see, it's so funny. Like, what do you think ESPN has to be equitable in the amount of time it gives Alabama and Oregon State? Why would they do that? Nobody. And again, no offense to anybody who pulls for Oregon State, they're not in the same area code.
It's not close.
They're not. They're two totally. I mean, it's like they're not playing two totally different sports.
They might as well should be.
Do you think teams that cover the NFL say, you know what, we got to show the Jacksonville Jaguars, we got to talk about them as much as we talk about the Cowboys? That's never going to happen.
No, there's not. There's not. Up against the break, stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Okay, somebody's not wearing their seatbelt.
I don't wear seat belts. Might wrinkle my shirt.
That's okay. I'm sure they can iron it before the funeral.
What funeral?
Yours. Almost 70% of people who die in car crashes aren't wearing a seatbelt.
Okay. There. You happy?
Just happy to be alive.
Seatbelts. It's hard to live without them. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Elijah Idol 15, the semifinals, is happening in the River Region this Saturday night at Alabama's Little Bit of Texas. It's Elijah Idol 15, the semifinals.
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Check out the powerful new Chevrolet Silverado 4-wheel drive crew cab, discounted up to $9,250 off. Chevy Equinox up to $6,750 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com. Plus, no payments for 120 days at Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
We have over 200 new and used vehicles on the ground or on the way. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. A very short segment here because we got to catch up. I will update you. Alabama and Auburn in midweek action. Alabama is up on Troy 9-2 in the top of the 8th, and that is in Tuscaloosa. Auburn is at UAB tonight, and it's tied at 4 apiece in the top of the 7th. So Alabama and Auburn not doing bad in baseball right now. It's just a brutal meat grinder of a league. In the West, both Auburn and Alabama are 3-6. I know that Alabama just came off of a series with Arkansas where they were able to go on the road and get one. Auburn was able to get one on the road against Florida, and that's the goal, Luke, in this league. If you can go get one game on the road and you can win your home series, you're going to put yourself in a position to be.
I think it was disappointing for both of them because I felt like both of them should have at least gotten 2.
They should have. Both should have.
And or if not swept, and they just. But that's the difference. I mean, I think that's the thing is, people talk all the time. Well, this team that's not as good should have beaten this team that was heavily favored. But that's what makes the team heavily favored better is like they've got better depth. They've got better pitching. They got better clutch hitting. There's something that separates them. Florida's number 2 in the country. Arkansas's number 6 in the country. There's something that separates those 2 programs from Alabama and Auburn right now. And that's why, Alabama and Auburn can probably go over there and, if they play their A game, they can beat them. But then if you don't play your A game, chances are you're going to lose.
Yeah, I saw where Alabama had a chance to win too. Auburn really, man, they blew it Sunday, had a big lead, 8-2 in the 5th, and ended up losing 17-8. Pitching fell apart, and that's how fast it can go on you.
That game was on. My daughter was at the park with me, and you're talking about people burying their face in their phone. But I can't climb the monkey bars anymore, so I'm letting her do that. And I just had that game on.
Watch that.
I know. If Randy's watching, he's like, I can't believe Luke was watching baseball. Well, there wasn't nothing else on. So I put that on and just put it on. And it was 8-3, I think, at the time.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, shoot, Auburn's going to go over there and get 2. And then, Auburn walked a dude, hit a dude, walked a dude, hit a dude.
And it just wouldn't stop.
And it just wouldn't stop. And I was like, this is incredible. Yeah, and I really did have the thought, this is what separates Florida from Auburn and Arkansas from Alabama. This is because Alabama went to Florida and won one this year.
They sure did.
And this is the difference. They can get down 8-3. If Alabama and Auburn get down 8-3, you can probably just say, thanks for shopping. Let's just go ahead and call this one off.
Right. I'm with you. I mean, especially in this league, it's it's brutal. It's such a tough league. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City, Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry?
Sportz Auto Sales, located on Highway 280 in Kellyton, is all about selection and service. Selection of clean, sharp used cars, trucks, and SUVs selected by Robert Forbes himself. Service. Sportz Auto Sales is all about servicing vehicles on the lot, but also servicing your personal vehicle. Keep this in mind. If you don't see what you're looking for on the lot, just tell old Robert to go shopping for you. That's what he does. Personal service, and that's what it's all about at Sportz Auto Sales in Kellyton.
The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. He'll better.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best in comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissan with unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sale. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Blitz Live. A couple segments left in tonight's show. Anthony said y'all were talking about college football being too strict on celebrations. He said I had a flashback to that Egg Bowl a few years back. Eventually cost Ole Miss the game.
Well, okay, they weren't too strict then. They got that one right.
You
had to call something.
But everybody was in shock. Said that it's on the fire hydrant.
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
It cost their team. Had to back up the extra point. He missed it. I knew right then. I said, I said, the guy's going to miss the extra point. It's a given. You can forget it. And he did. And it was like.
He might have done it just out of spite.
He may have. I don't know. But it was a pretty good player that did that, wasn't it? It was ended up going to the NFL.
Yeah.
The wide receiver.
No, it wasn't a wide receiver, was it?
I thought it was.
Or was it a tight end?
I can't remember. It was. Somebody tell us who it was. I can't remember who it was. Right,
I feel like a wide receiver would have been even more flamboyant about it.
We'll have to look at it. We'll look it up during the break. Somebody doesn't tell us. Somebody will probably find it before we do.
But here's the problem. Today, that guy might act like a dog TTing in the end zone 1 minute. Next minute, he's transferring to that very school he was TTing
and
on.
He's going to TT on it back to them. I mean, that's – I wouldn't – would you be shocked?
No.
If that happened?
Brett, I'm going to tell you something.
Have we seen a high – when is a high-profile guy going to transfer in our rivalry? From Alabama to Auburn, Alabama. I guess you could say Corey – I was going to say, I guess you could say Corey Grant.
Rondi Gibson? Do you remember him a long time ago?
I don't remember Rondi Gibson. Okay. I do not.
I think he transferred from Auburn to Alabama. That was a gazillion years ago. But, yeah, Corey Grant. But Corey Grant sat out a year. He's from Opelika.
Right. I did kind of felt like – that just never felt like he was at Alabama.
Well, he was, they had him playing cornerback. And, he went to Auburn. He was fine. He played in the NFL a little bit. He was fine. There's nothing wrong with him.
No, he was a good player. Yeah. I thought he ended up being a decent player for Auburn, and he did some things. But,
we're probably going to see that.
It's coming. I know how Auburn fans felt when James Willis went to Alabama, and I know Will Friend's been at Auburn. Bill Oliver's been at both of them. Twice.
No, I remember when Bill Oliver went, though, the first time.
Oh, yeah. Right.
People lost their minds.
So, but I think nowadays, and I was talking to JJ today before the Auburn Blitz, and we were talking about we're talking about this UAB, Alabama, Auburn, Troy, all playing all these in-state teams. He said, I think back in the day, it was more of a concern because of recruiting, because things were different. You didn't have all this portal stuff, and you were trying to get as many good players as you can because of the scholarship limitations. But now with all the flipping and flopping and up and down, and if somebody does slip up and beat you 1 year, it's not detrimental. Troy went to LSU and won. I know that Louisiana Monroe has beaten Alabama with Nick Saban there back in 2007. Auburn has lost its fair share.
Almost lost
to Jacksonville State, but crap. Is that program killing to Alabama or Auburn or LSU? No, all three have won a national championship, and others have won multiple since those losses.
Yeah, but I'll say this. See, you say a team from Alabama goes over to Louisiana and beats them. They can probably get down with that. No, it sucks. They hated it.
No,
I remember.
I understand.
But they can get over it a little quicker.
I'm not saying everybody likes it.
But then if Louisiana Monroe comes over to Alabama, beats him 2 years in a row, again, everybody hated it, but you can deal with it. Right. If Troy or UAB beat Alabama 2 years in a row, the papers would never stop. They would never stop. They would never stop. And really, I keep going back to this. Everybody says, it would be good for the state.
No, I don't agree with that. I do agree that Alabama and Auburn should never lose to either one of those teams. I'm just saying. I mean, and we had this discussion out here. They should never lose. If they do get beat 1 out of 25 times, okay, you got us because we were down 1 year and, we were going through some stuff. But on a year in and year out basis, I don't care. I'm sorry, Troy people. I'm sorry, Jacksonville State people. You're not on the same plane.
Then tell me why you should play them.
I mean, you just –
because
for the bottom line is that you got to have somebody that you schedule, no offense again, that is not a grueling conference opponent, or you're not going out and scheduling Clemson or Florida State or somebody like that as your non-conference. I mean, you got to have somebody that's a little bit lesser than you because of the way the schedule's laid
I hear
out.
that.
Well, that's why you schedule those teams.
Well, that's why you schedule them. But again, what you're saying is there's already. I mean, there is an inherent risk of your losing. It's not a high risk. There is a risk of your losing that game and being embarrassed. I mean, we've seen teams have that happen to them. Alabama and Auburn have had that happen to them. But at the same time, if it happens to a team that's right up the road from you, oof.
No, I get it.
And I just don't see I see no benefit for Alabama at all, the university, to play any of those teams in football. I really don't see any benefit. Alabama has played.
Auburn and Alabama are both playing UAB and Troy tonight in baseball.
And again, in baseball, I think we're all sort of like, okay, and if UAB's beating Alabama and Auburn in baseball, and Alabama played them in softball, Alabama plays basketball against South Alabama, against Jacksonville State. Auburn played North Alabama.
Auburn played UAB.
Auburn played UAB. Right. Alabama doesn't want to play UAB because, again, UAB and Alabama have some bad blood. Now, it's old. It predates me even. But I'm saying that Alabama.
Don't you think that's expired by now?
I think there's enough old guard to be like, again, why do we want to do this? And so here's Brett. Here's the other thing. UAB has won. I think I saw this. UAB's won 78 games over the last 3 years. That's tied for the third most in the country. I think
in football.
No, in basketball.
I mean in basketball.
Alabama's at 76, so that's tied for 10th.
Right.
Like you go from I think the most was like Houston at 91 over the last 3 years. That's phenomenal. Then Gonzaga, then like a bunch of teams tied for third, and then a bunch of teams tied for what boils down to be fifth, I guess, in Alabama. And I mean, my thought was, well, see, UAB has all these wins, and I live in Birmingham. I don't know when they're playing basketball. Like, it's not hyped up at all. Everybody's worried about Alabama and Auburn. We're filling up our joints.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you can just walk up the street and go get you a ticket to UAB. Again, no offense to UAB. I'm just telling you, it's not as big a deal. It's a much bigger deal for UAB to get to play Alabama or Auburn than vice versa. So tell me why Alabama, which already has some bad blood there, would just throw them a bone to do that. That's my point.
Yeah, I definitely would sit here tonight and tell you that Auburn and Alabama, from a status standpoint, has nothing to gain by playing those teams because they're bigger schools. They're in a bigger conference. They have bigger history. They have all that stuff over UAB, Jacksonville State, Troy, all that. And Troy and Jacksonville State and UAB go into those games going, we got 0 to lose. We're expected to lose. If we win, it's just a great PR moment. Look, I see that part. I know Auburn played UAB in football. They played them a couple times. Auburn's played Sanford in football. They played Jacksonville State. They've got Troy coming up. They are going to play Troy. There's some of this stuff that I think Auburn has taken a little bit different path than Alabama, which is fine, and they've taken a little inherent risk to say, look, okay, we're going to extend the olive branch and we're going to do this. And look, it's almost beaten them. UAB's almost beaten Auburn. I can't remember exactly when it was. I know Justin Kraft from Alex City was on that team, Luke, and I think the score was 16-0. And I mean, that doesn't feel like a very close game, but it was closer than the score looked. And then the Jacksonville State game went to overtime, and in the moment it was like, dang, it sucks. But I think it was more about the kind of teams that Auburn had during those stretches more than it was about the opponent. But you do take that risk when you do play those teams. I'm with you on that part.
And look, I look at it the same way. Let's go back 10 years. If I'm Duke and Alabama or Auburn calls and says, we'd love to set up a home and home, I'd go, yeah, I'm sure you would.
Yeah.
Why would we come to see you when you bring nothing to the table.
That's right.
And I mean, it's the same kind of thing that, like, all that does is it's only good for us. Like, if Duke embarrasses either one of us, we're like, they're supposed to beat us. If we play them close, it's like we won the national championship.
Well, I know Auburn played a series here recently with UConn. They went to UConn, and then UConn came to Auburn, and we split the series. But, again, from a standpoint of that's been more modern when Auburn's a lot better program. You know, and in the past, you bring up a good point. I remember people saying, why don't we ever play North Carolina, or why can't we ever do that? I don't think they wanted to play us.
Why would you? Well, I mean, again, now if you're Alabama Auburn, you're like, hey.
No, you got some clout. I remember Mike Krzyzewski telling Jeff Capel, don't go to Auburn. I mean, when he was going to apply for the Auburn job, and he pretty much said, you're going to kill your career by going down there, which pissed a lot of people off. And, you know, back then was probably the best advice. And now Jeff Capel would do anything to probably have that job at Auburn now.
So, I mean, it's again,
things are different.
You got to build it up, and that's why. Look, I go back.
You got to earn your stature, and I think that's what they're trying to do by playing Alabama and Auburn. But you know, they can go play Missouri, or they can go play, and that's what's happening.
Until then, you have to do the old Florida State method of saying we'll play anybody anywhere, and if you won't play,
didn't Troy take that? Didn't they take that motto a few years ago when they were moving to D1? They said we'll
went
play
to Nebraska.
Yeah, they went to Nebraska. We'll play you anytime, anywhere, blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. And you know, they're trying to do the things they can to build.
And again, I'm cool with that, but you know, not everybody's going to be like, I don't want to do that, because especially if you're Alabama and you look at it like, okay, we could play UAB, but you know, UAB's going to have a bunch of people that wanted to come play for us, and we said they're not good enough. So they've got all this extra fire.
No, I mean,
you know, again, I don't see Notre Dame playing Indiana every single year.
No, you're right. So, all right, let's get to break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
WF Cabinetry in Alex City has immediate openings for first and second shift production roles, in addition to immediate openings for Class A CDL drivers with the ability to be at home weekly. We're ready for you to join our family and grow with us. Prior cabinet experience is always welcome. Second shift offers a flexible 10-hour, 4-day work schedule, giving you a great work-life balance right here at home. WF Cabinetry offers excellent health insurance and 401k benefits, as well as an employee purchase discount with daily production bonus opportunities. You can apply in person at 2212 Airport Boulevard in Alexander City, or call 256-234-7900.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
GillsOpelika.info. Get pre-approved in minutes online at GillsOpelika.info for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Gills Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika. OGS tournaments. Russell Marine and State Farm agent Aaron Warren present Crank for Bank 2023, April 1st through July 4th. Win over $1.5 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 50 tag crappie are waiting on you. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or shores of Lake Martin. Get registered now online at crankforbank.com for only $110 for 13 weeks of fishing. It's Crank for Bank 2023.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Short segment here. We've got to catch up on a break. 256-234-6221. We've been so entertained tonight. We've had one call tonight. Some comments come in. People are just so enamored. Talking about A-Day again this Saturday for Auburn. Doesn't look like the weather's going to be very good for that. But, don't let the weather guy dictate your outdoor plans. Many times things have been canceled and you go, man, it's been a gorgeous day. So just kind of wait and see if you're Auburn fans out there. It is Hugh Freeze's first opportunity to have a team. Now, again, they've only had 14 practices. He kind of braced Auburn's fans for that, said, look, don't be expecting a lot out of this. But he has been very complimentary of two things. One, offensive line. And the new guys have really come on, which is important, I think. And then you'll kind of see a hodgepodge on the quarterback side. I think Robbie Ashford still with a sore shoulder. Hadn't heard much out of T.J. Finley at all since really the first couple of days. I think Holden Gardner's gotten better, but I think as soon as spring practice is over, he's going to be hitting the transfer portal to bring at least one quarterback in. Alabama, Luke, any updates or anything on Alabama's spring practice?
Justin Aboigbe, 100% healthy. He had a really bad injury-scared neck situation, and it seems like he's going to be back at 100%, fully cleared. That's a big positive for Alabama to get him back. Caleb Downs has been looking fantastic at safety, the true freshman coming in. A lot of people really high on him. I thought he would. I mean, honestly, I don't get to see every player in high school football, but from what I saw, I thought he was the best player that I watched any film on at all. And I think he's going to come in and start day one. And, Jimmy and I were talking about that. How often has a guy come in early enrollee as a true freshman and started like you're with the ones on A-Day? I can't think of many times.
That's impressive, especially with the talent pool that Alabama has and their history there. So April the 22nd, I believe, is the A-Day for Alabama, and then that'll wrap up spring football here. As we mentioned, spring sports coming to a close in high school. I mean, really, you got 1 month left, and then you start getting into playoff action. And then the championships for baseball and softball, we mentioned that, soccer, all of that will be coming to a head. There'll be some spring football coming up for high school. There's, spring games. I know Benjamin Russell will be playing Gardendale on May 20th in Gardendale, so that should be a good matchup there. Kelby Collins not at Gardendale anymore. Is at Florida, but Gardendale had a really good team last year. Benjamin Russell had a great team. I think both are returning a lot of players, so that should be fun in the spring as well. Just a quick snapshot of SEC softball. Auburn and Alabama. Auburn 6-3 in the league. Alabama 4-5. Kind of odd to see Alabama down at 4-5, 26-11 overall. Auburn is 28-10. This is again another meat grinder of a conference. Tennessee is at the top at 29-3, 10-2. Surprisingly, Georgia 9-2, 29-7. Auburn missed a golden opportunity to take 2 out of 3 from them. First series of the year, they lost a couple one-run games. Did end up winning one of those games, so able to steal one there. But you feel like Mickey Dean at Auburn has a team. He said this beginning of the year, maybe his best team ever. Anywhere he's ever coached, seems to be turning the corner. Alabama got some big wins early. They've dropped. They just won 2 out of 3 against Missouri. I don't know who Alabama plays in the next 2 or 3 matchups, but you don't play everybody And a lot of times it rotates. And I know Auburn and Alabama play each other in a couple of weeks, and that is in Tuscaloosa, so that'll be a fun matchup as always. But depending on if you play more of the lower tier teams or higher tier, really determines what your record is. So
It definitely does.
So it'll be interesting to see. Up against another break. Stay tuned. One final segment coming up right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true, and the names have been changed because Brubaker Motors has sold to Sons Automotive. You heard right. Brubaker CDJR is now Sons Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Montgomery. Furthermore, Sons Automotive is a family business with dealerships throughout the Southeast. The name Sons Automotive is synonymous with trust, and they care about the communities they're a part of. They're excited to serve the River region, and in the interest of justice, you will be served a sentence of big savings. Sons CDJR of Montgomery, family owned, family driven.
At CNT Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
The food at Oscar's Cafe makes your mouth water. At Oscar's, enjoy great tasting catfish, or maybe you're just in the mood for one of Oscar's fresh salads. Even kids know the place for a fine meal is Oscar's with a great kids menu. Oscar's also has great tasting burgers full of backyard flavor. So come on out to Oscar's Cafe for great food and homegrown hospitality. We're located on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, just before the Blue Creek Bridge. And remember, it's all fun and games till there's only one cheese ball left.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
Talladega Outdoors in Talladega is your authorized Kawasaki sale and service center. Your home for Bad Boy mowers and Kimco scooters, four-wheelers, and side-by-sides. Rather for hunting, land management, or recreation, they have the ride for you. But they are also everything outdoor with full lines of accessories and is now your Ariat workwear and boot store, along with kayaks and outdoor accessories. Talladega Outdoor, Highway 21 in Talladega. Everything outdoor and Alabama's #1 Kawasaki dealer.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment here on Sports Blitz Live. Couple minutes left. The Masters coming up this week. Odds, 8-1 odds for Scheffler, McIlroy, and Rahm. Scotty Scheffler won the 2022 Masters by 3 strokes over McIlroy. Last year, 10 under versus 7 under. Rahm up there, though. Jordan Spieth, 14-1 odds. Justin Thomas, 15-1 odds. Those are your best odds to win the Masters. Tiger Woods, 60-1 odds, but don't ever count Tiger out. In Augusta, that's his place. So
I'm going to say again, it's better when
Tiger's
either he was the hero or the villain, because otherwise you don't know who you like, dislike in golf. There's nobody.
Golf is by far better when Tiger Woods is playing.
It's not even close. And again, I understand there are diehard golfers out there like, I'll watch the Masters. I don't give a rip who's playing.
Right.
And I get that. I understand because the Masters is.
But when Tiger Woods is in the Masters.
Tiger Woods is what everybody's watching.
That's exactly right. And if he's playing on Saturday and Sunday, the ratings skyrocket. If he ain't there, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. It's there. The numbers don't lie. The ratings are down. So, it is what it is on that. But we'll see. Can Scotty Scheffler, can he repeat? It's tough to do that.
By the way, it's supposed to be horrible weather, too.
Terrible. You know, and that's the thing in the spring, and especially when you get these wet springs, 4 days out of the week it's going to pour, and you just hope it's not the 3 days that it doesn't, and it's not affecting your event. But it does. It looks like horrible weather in Alabama and Georgia this weekend. Looks like it may be out by Sunday, but if it pushes everything back, I don't know what to do. It's always tough when you're trying to work all that in. So, but that's going to wrap it up here for Sports Blitz Live. Again, appreciate everybody watching and listening. We'll be back with you tomorrow at noon for another edition of Auburn Blitz. For Luke Robinson, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans, then personalize. Tile backsplash with granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail, floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1, with 3 full new car dealers on one lot, you get the best in comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2, Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sale. And 3, the Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat and 2 sides or a meat and 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck cheeseburger basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat and 2 sides or a meat and 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck cheeseburger basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Concrete Basement and Walls, LLC, 205-229-0234. Call owner Eric McKenzie now to get your free quote now. 205-229-0234. Concrete Basement and Walls, LLC.